All right, we're live. Welcome, guys. Welcome, Bulldogs. Welcome, John from Modern Life Dating. If you guys don't know John, you're gonna meet him now. So I thought we'd just do a live stream and introduce you. And yeah, it's been fun doing some of these live streams on other channels and everything. So yeah, so welcome.
Thanks, man. I'm just honored to, have your seal of approval because I watch your videos and I'm like, God, I'm such a loser. I need to do better. In a
See,
good way. In a good way.
yeah. Well, that's the intent of the videos. Like, if you don't feel like you gotta, I watch my videos and I'm like, damn, I'm such a fucking loser. I'm like, dude, why the fuck? This is, why aren't you out there running right now? So, yeah,
It's
that's
fantastic. It really is. I mean, in a world that not only encourages mediocrity, but
mm.
shames people for trying to be extraordinary. I mean, your channel really is a breath of fresh air, in my opinion.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I definitely try to wake people up to, uh, to to uh to their potential, right? Because I think that's, so many people fall short of that, and they're they don't believe that they can accomplish what other people can do in life, or they sell themselves so short. So that's important to realize that you're limiting yourself. So
Absolutely. And then I just think it's great, like everything you do in regards to like helping men out. And I've was part of your Bulldog Mindset community, and I got to see the behind the scenes live stream. I just think it's really great, and the guys from my community love you as well. So I mean, I just think it's overall, um, masculine voices are needed,
mhm.
and they're quite frankly dying off.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Yeah, that's, I mean, I think that we've seen so many people in society today become pussified. So many men that are just, they have no sense of authority, no sense of self-respect, or they're just weak, really.
Hmm.
That's what it comes down to. And you look at it like what's happened today, even with everything going on in the world today, and you see so many men that are just just getting, like literally getting on their knees, like literally getting on their knees at this point. And that's sad. That's it's a shame.
Yeah, and like you and I guess you could consider us like people of color because we're not like fully, or you're not even partially white, are you?
Well, I'm actually about, well, I mean, it depends on how you slice it, but I'm basically half Turkish and then mostly Italian. So,
Mm.
under sunlight, I become a person of color.
Yeah, yeah. And so I'm a theoretically I'm like 50% Caucasian, and then the
Mm.
other half, my mom is from Trinidad and Tobago. But I've never really latched myself to a racial identity. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
just I've just never that's never been something for me. And if you want to talk about racism, like I get treated like shit on a daily basis in Japan for not being Japanese. And
Oh
like
yeah.
I mean, watching them, because obviously I live in Tokyo, Japan, for the folks that don't know, but like watching America from the Tokyo city line, it's very interesting to see how there has become like racism has become a huge thing, and it's all been since Donald Trump became president. And like if people were to travel, they would know that like racism is rampant across the globe. It's not just like Americans are just the racist bad boys.
Right.
And I don't know. I had a lot of things that had to overcome here, and like I've straight up been like denied service at places just because I'm not Japanese. They'd be like, "Oh, sorry, like you can't come in here." I'm like, "Why not?" Like, "You're not Japanese." I'm like, "But like, can you do that?" And they're like, "Yeah, so get out." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
It's like the Nihon only, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nihonjin only. That's right. And like I could sit around and and cry about it and talk about how oppressed I am, but unfortunately, it's just human nature and it's never
Yeah.
going to go away. And so, like, it sounds cold hearted, but you do just have to deal with it. Like,
Right.
that's just the reality of nature. And nature's reality is harsh. And if you don't side with reality and nature at one point or another, like, you're gonna have a tough path ahead of you if you decide that you don't want to side with nature. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's I mean it's really true. It's like that we make such a big deal out of it, and not that it doesn't affect you in some way, like I said, like you've experienced it yourself, but it's just what are you going to do? You're going to cry about it, you're going to whine about it, you're going to complain, or you're just going to deal with whatever you got to deal with in life. And that's just how it is. Like you don't know what struggle anyone is going through in life, right? There's no way to know, right? So you can't really, that's why I don't like the idea of like calling certain people privileged or not, because you don't really know what constitutes a privilege, right? In
Yeah.
fact, I had one guy I was coaching, one of my coaching clients. He was a trust fund baby, right?
Mm.
And he, so he's paying me some big dollars to coach him, and that was a eye opener for me, because this dude was miserable. His life sucked. And I'll tell you
Really?
why, is because he lived in the shadow of his father, and there was no way he was getting out of that shadow. Like he was basically he was coming to me as like, John, what can I do? How can I like prove myself? He's like, nothing I do seems to actually matter. Like there's what can I, and so most people would look at this guy and be like, and plus so many people were doing this to him. They were discriminating against him because he was a trust fund baby, right?
Mm.
And thinking of him as a spoiled brat and a little shit, and a worthless human being who never had to work for anything in their life. And that was the discrimination he was facing. So he would have been better off without the money, without with all those things actually hurt him, and hurt his personal growth and development, and made him feel like a shitty human being. And there was nothing he could do. Like, he didn't choose to be born into a wealthy family, right? You always hear the opposite, but this really opened up my eyes to see that, wow, okay, there, you can never judge someone and determine what is an advantage or a disadvantage. So
Yeah, I mean, I know, like, I think a lot of everything that a man deals with usually boils down to one question. And I think, at least I think men that are self aware, men that are watching this material, uh, they ask themselves, like, am I man enough? Or am I a real man? And I think part of being a real man is providing for yourself. And when you're given a trust fund, or mom and dad are paying for you, mommy's picking you up and you're 25 years old, she's picking you up from work, she's buying you sneakers, all this stuff, she does your laundry. I think that this kind of robs men of their masculinity, because I take a lot of pride in the fact that I'm in Tokyo by myself. Nobody's really, I have a cleaning lady, she helps me out, but like, she's from Vietnam and I pay her like $70 a week. It's not like she does everything for me, but she preps my meals, she cleans my house, but everything else I pretty much do on my own. And a big part of me coming out to Tokyo was actually, I was 26 years old. I had just graduated college, and I'd gotten my degree to, come to Japan. That was my whole purpose of getting my degree, because if you want to be an American citizen coming to Japan, you need a 4-year degree to get into an English teaching position. That's like the prerequisite. And I had given up on that dream because everybody had told me, "Oh, Jonathan, you're crazy. You want to go to Japan? Like, nobody goes to Japan. You can't do that." And I had given up on my dreams. I'd given up on it, and I had a job at Aon Hewitt, right, which is one of the top, you know, insurance companies in the world. I was running a little side business. I had a part time gig at the nightclub where I was security, so I was getting tons of girls. I was managing a property, and I had all my money. I had everything, but I just felt like I was not man enough. So what I did
Mm.
was like I had studied history about masculinity, and I grew up without a dad, so I had kind of like a masculinity complex, if you will, right? You to an extent a chip on your shoulder, if you will. And I just did not feel like I was man enough. So I said, I'm going to create my own rite of passage, and I'm going to go to Japan, and I'm going to survive for 2 years by myself. And I said, if I don't make it, I'm going to,
Yeah.
I'm going to live with the fact that I'm not a man. But I came over here and I knocked that ball right out the park. And I haven't been the sense. I really did. Something happened to me. Something changed in me over here. And I really just had like concrete belief in myself, and like just a hardcore masculinity that no one could take from me.
Yeah. I mean, there's something, I think one of the things, let me just put this up here real quick. Thanks, Champion Gate coach. Appreciate it, man. But, I think one of the big things about that is, I always say that there's basically three insecurities of men, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are like the three biggest fears that men have. One of them is that they wouldn't be able to like sacrifice their life in combat, right? That they wouldn't be able, you could say they're scared of a fight, they're scared of dying, right? They're, you watch a movie on TV and you see, all these people going and fighting the enemy with swords, and you're like, could I actually do that? Like, would I be brave enough, or would I be a fucking coward and I would, take my sword and run home, right there? So that's like knowing that you can do that. Could you fight and potentially risk your life? The second one, I think, is can you become successful like financially on your own? A self-made man is what I
Yeah.
call it, right? And we all face that too, right? That's where so many of us want to become entrepreneurs and like not work for the fucking man, so we can prove, can we make it on our own, right? And that, I think that's what and then the third one is, can we procure a woman for ourselves, right? Like, can we, and really more of the visceral sort of lion, catching his prey, like not meeting a coworker at work and whatever, but like, can I go out and cold approach a woman and like,
Yeah.
and win the day, like, you know what I mean, and generate that, to get that for myself, right? And
Yeah.
so I think, what you're talking about, like the reason why that was so powerful probably of an experience for you is because it hit sort of, you know, all of those things in some way, right? It's like you prove that you're the man, that you're self-sufficient, that you can do these things on your own, right? That you can make it yourself. And I think that's, it's like the rite of passage for men that they have to go through. They have to deal with all three of these major insecurities. And if you don't, you're going to feel like you're not a man,
Yeah.
right? And so, yeah, so I think that's, you've got to go through some kind of rite of passage like that.
Yeah, it's true. Like I nicked the fighting thing early. I grew up I was bullied by my cousins growing up, so I had to learn how to fight. And then in high school, I wrestled for 2 years, and so I had conquered that pretty early. I just knew, like, if you know how to wrestle, like American wrestling, you have a pretty solid advantage over a lot of people in the population. But then the girl thing, I was more like a natural. I don't have like this typical case, like, I was a loser and I didn't lose my virginity until I was 25, and then I found the rational male and it changed my life. Like I don't have one of those stories. I was a bad boy making out with girls in the choir room when I was 15, 16. And so, but yeah, like what you said, those things are extremely pinnacle, and I think that a lot of guys, they're afraid to run towards the adversity that
Mhm.
comes along with fixing those things.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely, yeah, because it's a hard road, right? It's not an easy path, and everyone's against you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Society in general is against you because you're toxic, you're toxic masculinity, right? If you're pursuing this road, and yeah, and it's going to require a lot of work and a lot of struggle and a lot of, soul searching. It's easier to just sit on the couch and watch fucking Netflix and jerk off, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the easy thing to do in life. And you could do that and you can live a fucking mediocre life and, just drink on the weekends and whatever. Or you can, go and face these demons, right? Which, once you
Yeah,
do, it changes your life. So
I mean, I'm just used to like doing this at this point. Like once I accomplish my goals, if I don't set a new, harder, more difficult goal, I kind of get like not depressed, but I feel like I start thinking too deeply. Then I go down that existential rabbit hole. And then I'm just like, nothing is meaning anything. And oh, I'll just eat pizza today. And then I feel like shit from all the, chemicals in the pizza. And then it's like, that only lasts like maybe a week or so. But, I'm addicted to accomplishing goals and stuff. And I think, there's a guy in your chat calls himself Yusuf. He says, this podcast is probably the
Oh, yeah.
same as everyone else, right? The only advice they give us is to get money and go to the gym and become a bodybuilder. That's it. Like the first thing you should change, Yusuf, is your shitty mindset.
Yeah.
Because I focus on the big three. I said all men should focus on making money, making muscles, and learning game so you
Hmm.
don't get finessed in a relationship. Because all men want to be strong, all men want to be rich, and all men want money. And I think if you deny those things, I think you're just denying reality.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. That's and really, it's like, you look at the thing, and I always ask, like, what are you actually trying to achieve, right? So, Yusuf says here, the only advice is to get money, go to the gym, and become a bodybuilder. And the question is, like, why? Like, are you, is your end result like just to get girls? Is that what it is? Like, because you know what, you may achieve that result, and like, I'm sure you've gone through the experience, John, where you've achieved the result enough times that you're like, okay, what, like, it's not so exciting anymore. It's not, it's like, it's almost, you go into depression because you're disappointed, because that is this all there is to life, is
Yeah.
right, and and so you have to really ask the question, is like, why are you doing the thing, right? Like, it's not about just like doing all this so that you can get laid, right? It's about doing this because it improves you as a person. Like, why go to the gym and lift weights? Or, for example, I did my ultra marathon this weekend, ran my 50 miles. Like, why would I do that? The benefit to me is who I become in the process of doing that, right? It's like, you go through the fucking challenge, you become a stronger man, and that is something that no one can take from you. And it's not related to getting the girl, right? Or any of these things. It doesn't matter, right? That the thing that you're really after. And the same thing with like lifting weights, or even making the money, right? What is that? What is making the money? Like, at some point you make enough money, it doesn't fucking matter. But
Yeah.
it's about like what you're accomplishing and who you're becoming as you're going through the struggles, and you're creating new challenges for yourself. And 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 it's because you become that man, and like you said, learning the game, that you're able to get access to the women that you want, right? It's when people are doing things just simply to go after the girl, or to get the girl, they end up not achieving that result, right? It's like trying to chase happiness, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the reason I started modern life dating is because, well, there's just a ton of bad dating advice out there.
Hmm.
And quite honestly, my biggest problem that I have as a business is customer retention, is because I teach these dudes how to get with chicks, how to get with multiple chicks, and then they never come back and talk to me again because they go out and they're living life happy in the world, sleeping with a bunch of chicks.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, but that's the thing. Think of what you just said is so true. How many guys became multimillionaire CEOs just to get women, only to arrive there and they still got no woman? How many
Right.
guys, how many gym cells do you personally know? I know a lot.
Yeah.
Guys that live in the gym, all they do, like, they track their macros, they eat like 20 carbs a day, they do everything to be shredded. They take steroids. Some guys, they take so many steroids their dick doesn't work, and then, they get there and they're like, I was told there'd be women. And so a lot of guys, they dangle that carrot in front of themselves for their entire life. But
Yeah.
if with me, I just shortcut it. I get them sorted out because my philosophy is this: I teach guys how to sort out their dating life so they can move on. They can do something
Exactly.
better. So they can
Exactly.
push the human race forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. This is so critical, right? Because a lot of, I get into discussions with a lot of MGTOW guys about this, because they're like, well, I don't really want women and I'm going to just write them off. And I'm like, if you don't, okay. And even the whole thing with the external validation, right? I'm not a big, like, I don't believe external validation is a good thing, right? You should be internally validated. But you're going to need to get a little bit of external validation before you can start to become internally validated, right? You're going to have to like taste that pie and then realize, that pie's not so good. It doesn't actually, I eat the pie and I keep eating the pie, but I'm never full, right? And if you don't experience that for yourself, if you're not getting any pie, you're going to think, if I would eat this pie, I would get full and I would be satisfied. But once you get a taste of the pie and you start eating that pie and you realize, oh, it never actually makes me full, then you can move on with your life and you can find something better and bigger. But if you never actually get that, then you're going to keep on thinking that that would be the thing that would solve your life and solve your problems. And that's why, you know, like you said, was spot on. When you teach a guy how to get access to the women that he wants, then he realizes, you know what, there's more important things in life than this. Like, I got this down, I could do this, but you know, I want to pursue something better and deeper than that. And that's where he really, you know, steps into his manhood, I would say, and becomes, like you said, a value to society, because he doesn't have that, you know, it's like if you were starving and you were hungry all the time, like you couldn't really function and do much else until you got something to eat, right? Because you'd only be thinking about food all the time, right? And you know, if you've ever like done one of those extreme diets, that's like, it's so fucking hard to work or do anything else because that's the thing that's on your mind. So
Yeah, and so many of these guys are just clouded with their sexual hunger that they straight up they ruin their lives. Their whole lives are 100% ruined because
yeah,
they are just chasing women until the grave because they don't learn the system. Once you learn the system, once you figure it out, John, I mean, I don't know how transparent I could be on this channel, but
go ahead, go for
well,
it.
there's been times where I have hooked up with a chick, got her in my bed, slept with her, and I'm not joking. Like a few minutes into the intercourse, I'm just like, I'm bored out of my mind, and I'm like
Yeah.
I'm done. Like I caught it. Like, you know, like the thrill is in the hunt. It's not in the kill.
Exactly.
And that's, you know, I've been with over 200 chicks. I'm 34, whatever you may judge that number as, be it as it may, but you know, it really, you can move on to this because I liken male sexual hunger as to, like, you know, like if this bottle, right? So your level of sexual thirst is always going to be filling up, right? And when you have sex, you empty the bottle, right? But the more you're able to have control over your sex life and understand the process, as a man, your sexual thirst will always go up, but the rate at which the bottle fills up and the rate at which you can empty it are controlled by you. You're no longer a slave to your desires. That's why a lot of people get, you know, they call getting laid, oh, you know, I got lucky. But there's no luck involved with it. You know, there are things you can do to learn female psychology and understand female nature. That's what game is understanding female psychology and using that understanding to get in a relationship with a woman or a sexual relationship, casual, fling, whatever you want to do.
Now, what about this math nerd says here, what about vows of poverty? I find the notion appealing. I'll let you take it first. I got a take on it, but I'll let you take your take on it first.
Oh, it's like a vow of celibacy. It's like, how can I commit to giving the least amount of effort? Like, there's no glory in this. This is like, I vow to never be on the Olympic team. Like, okay, congratulations. You know, it's like, what glory is there in being poor? What achievement is there in being poor? I don't understand.
I would say that, like, I can respect like the temporary vow of poverty. Oh, you know what? I read that as celibacy because I guess they're kind of going to be the same thing in this. If you take a vow of poverty, you'll also be taking a vow of celibacy. Trust me.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I think that that it's useful as an exercise, right? As a period of time where you disconnect yourself, not necessarily poverty, but like disconnect yourself from material things, from dopamine hits, right? Maybe, going monk mode for a while and living on hardly anything, so that you can realize what's important in life, and to realize that it's not about the things, it's about who you become. But like you said, John, I don't, it doesn't make sense in the long term. Like, why? What is the purpose? Even the most, one of the greatest Stoics, right, Seneca, he was quite a wealthy man. In fact, he was actually called a hypocrite in many cases because of his wealth. But the whole idea is that, like, can you achieve things, can you have a wealth and then not have it define you, right? And not be the thing that makes you who you are, right? Who are you if you lost everything, right? As a man, right? That's the question you have to ask. And so if wealth, if you feel like pursuing money is getting in the way of that, then yeah, maybe it makes sense to to get rid of that temptation for a while, or even the temptation of women. But it doesn't make sense for a long-term
You really
strategy.
have to really dig deep and like, jump through a bunch of loopholes to make this rational, like to rationalize this
Right.
perspective. You have to be like, well, if you had an existential crisis and like you're living in India and you went to a monastery, and like you have to compound it. But I mean, look, everybody in the world wants to be rich. You tell me that you don't. You at least want to have your money taken care of. And I mean, I don't understand what is the purpose of a vow of poverty. Like, do you hate the Federal Reserve? Do you hate the fucking United States government? You don't want to pay taxes? Like, the IRS is after you? Like, what is it? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. 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 It doesn't make money. And I think, a lot of times when guys say this, right, it's the same thing as like the vow of poverty or celibacy, or something like that. It's, I'm not saying that there's not anyone that has pure motives for this, but most
Mm-hmm.
of the time it's sour grapes. Most of the time it's because they feel like they can't get something, so they don't want the thing, right? And a lot of the MGTOW guys, that's what they're MGTOW because they can't get laid, not because they don't want to get laid.
Yeah.
And that's the wrong reason, right? Like, if you
Yeah.
go MGTOW because you're really like, no, I just want to focus on myself and my life and my purpose as a man, and I don't really want to deal with women, but I want to, like, focus on that, then I'm cool with that. Then that makes more sense to me. But if you're pretending like that's the reason why you want to do it, but really the reason why is because you don't think you can get women, you think that you're too fucking ugly, or whatever it is, that's a problem. It's the same thing with the poverty, right? I think a lot of people say, oh, poverty is good, like being like Gandhi and being, whatever. But in reality, they're trying to make up for something because they're afraid of the failure of, what if I go and I try to build wealth and I fail, then I'm a fucking loser. Whereas if I just say, I love poverty, I want to take a vow of poverty, then I don't have to worry about that shit. I don't have to face that demon.
The reality of MGTOW is a lot of the guys are just cowards, and they're afraid to try. They're afraid to do it. And I think it's so funny. It's like the ex-girlfriend when you dump her and she like posts about you on Facebook and Instagram. She's like, "I'm over that loser, John. Here's a picture of us when he took me to Costa Rica, but I don't need him. I've moved on. And then she posts like a million like I'm a boss bitch
Yeah.
stuff, and like MGTOW, all they talk about is like, we don't need women, we don't need women, we don't need women. But like, some MGTOW simps were on a live stream the other day, and one girl came in and they put her on the live stream, and they all started simping so hard for her. And I was like, you guys are the biggest hypocrite dorks.
Yeah.
And I honestly, if you've ever looked at these MGTOW dudes and had a chat with them, they're just, unfortunately, they're bottom tier men that could really, I believe anybody, especially men, could get to at least a 7 out of 10 on good looks if you religiously hit the gym.
Yeah.
7 out of 10. This without a shadow of a doubt. I've known some dudes that have pretty ugly faces, but women don't judge us on looks like we judge them. That's why women are running around in high heels and getting plastic surgery and wearing makeup all the time. It's not men. And two, a big thing is women are very sexually aroused by a guy who has muscles. more so than we are aroused by a girl who's like in shape. So these are
Right.
things that are within your control, and a lot of them just, dude, tracking your calories, having discipline to go to the gym, even when you don't feel like going to the gym. These are all things that above average people do, and quite honestly, like, it's hard, but what's harder, in my opinion? Being a complete fucking loser is the hardest thing in the world, and I can't do it. I refuse to do it.
Yep. Yep. No, I totally agree. Let's see. So Hugo got said Moral Letters to Lucilius by Seneca. Yep, I totally recommend that. And then we've got a MGTOW agent, the free agent lifestyle. Here you go, another MGTOW bashing show. These guys have alternative motives, it seems like. And then he and then he
Yeah.
says that those are incel, not MGTOW. The problem is, again, I was just on a MGTOW channel, and I was talking with someone who he basically said, in fact, he'll air it soon. It's called, he's the Logical Man, I think is what his channel was, and he was
Mhm.
saying, I went in there, guys, and I tried to debate John. I researched his videos for like 7 or 8 hours, trying to find things I disagreed with him about, and there was nothing, right? And so, the thing that I've been realizing with the MGTOW lately is that these guys, a lot of them, like, I agree with Freestyle Agent that those are incel, not MGTOW. Like, there's a MGTOW 1.0, and
Mhm.
that was the guys that originally kind of came up with the idea and said, all right, what we're going to do is we're going to live our lives, not focus on women, and improve ourselves as men and focus on improving ourselves. But unfortunately, what's happened now, like what like you're just describing, John, is the MGTOW community is just invaded by incels and black pill guys and people with victim mindset, and so it gives that whole community a bad name. And that's why I don't,
Mhm.
in general, and it's a majority, right? Because a lot of guys, like, like Freestyle Agent Lifestyle, he's correct,
Mhm.
but when your majority becomes incels, then it's a problem. That's why we're attacking MGTOW, is because
Mhm.
that mindset is so prevalent now. I don't know. I mean, am I right on here? What do you think about this, John?
I propose a question to you, and you
Okay.
tell me, what do you think? Do you personally know any millionaire or multi-millionaire MGTOWs?
I don't know any that use the term. I
Mm-hmm.
know plenty of people who practice what the MGTOW philosophy teaches, but they don't call themselves MGTOW because
Mm.
they don't want to be associated with the incels and the victim mindset people that are in there, right? And I don't know anyone in the community themselves, of all the MGTOW guys I've met, that is really what I would call anyone I would aspire to be, is that's extremely successful.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The most vocal guys in this community that I see, they are, quite honestly, they're financially illiterate.
Mm,
If you look at them behind the scenes, they're really not in good shape. And another thing is, it seems that the only skill they have is to post outrage bait on YouTube.
right.
Getting angry is easy. It's very easy to do that. But on the other hand, look at guys who are millionaires, multimillionaires, or even if they're in the top tax bracket, right? Entry level rich. Those guys typically have at least one woman in their life, if not several. And
Mm,
so, again, I mean, maybe my definition of MGTOW is different, but I just figured every MGTOW I see on the internet, and maybe for the MGTOW, if there's a MGTOW ambassador, you'd like to contact me on Instagram, send me a DM.
yeah.
My impression is like MGTOW dudes are all like, like DDJ, my favorite grocery store employee, right? So his MGTOW hustle was selling sex dolls, saying that you just need to have sex with a sex doll, and then that's like now you're elite MGTOW. And I thought all these MGTOW dudes just have sex with sex dolls and they swear off
Right.
women, but they obsess about them all the time on the internet. So it's very weird. So I
Yeah.
don't I
I
don't
mean,
know.
well, and if you're following someone who is selling sex dolls and advertising the idea of having sex with a sex doll, if you're following that person and agreeing what they're saying, then you're an incel. Like you're basically a loser, right? Like, in no interpretation of masculinity having sex with a sex doll make you masculine or more of a man. Those are like, I don't care what anyone says. I'm going to go 100% into this saying that that's not masculine in any fucking way. It's weak, right?
Mhm.
You know, I mean, it's pathetic. It's honestly pathetic. So when you have all these people that follow someone that is saying that and that is selling it to them, then again, you're going to get grouped into that, right? Maybe you're some strong like MGTOW who, you know, doesn't subscribe to that, but the chances are you're going to get grouped in with those guys. So I don't know. That's
Yeah.
how I see it. So
I mean, I know I'll never be like a super, super gigantic channel or popular or whatever, is because I preach the stuff that is hard to do. I
right,
tell guys to take the hard path. You know, my thing is I learn a lot through failure, right? So like for example, when I in 2015, excuse me, 2014, I did a very stupid thing and I followed a woman, and I ended up in Hawaii chasing her, right? And in Hawaii, a very lucrative job at this time because Uber had not moved into the market was to become a taxi driver. And the taxi driver test is extremely hard in Honolulu. You have to memorize 50 routes by by just in your mind. The no notes, nothing allowed, and it has to be the route that the government wants you to use, not the one that is the fastest one.
right,
And there's
yeah,
no test to do it. And you have to pay $50 to take the test every time, right? So I failed this test 6 times, right? I failed
mm.
6 times. And on the 6th time, I came home and my girlfriend looked at me at the time. I dumped her. But my girlfriend looked at me and she looked at me and she told me with her words, she's like, I think you'll do it next time. But with her eyes, she looked at me like I was a loser.
yeah,
And a lot of people would give it up at that point. And I went back the 7th time with a fucking vengeance and I passed that test. And then that's when the money started rolling in. And as for me, I was 28 at the time. That was my first taste of big money. I was making $10,000 a month driving a cab,
mm.
right? And it was all cash. So, you know, I paid my taxes because I'm a God-fearing American, right? Um, um,
Okay,
I reported
yeah,
everything.
I'll just nod my head like this. Okay.
And you know, it was so satisfying to a rub it in her face, and then b not only that, but like you one of the best ways. I mean, you know, Frank Sinatra said it best. Like, you know, success is the best revenge. And now here I am raking in the dough while she's slaving away at her, you know, retail shop job. I'm making bank. I'm friggin' paying. You know, we're going out to nice restaurants. We're doing everything. But a big thing was I took a harder path. I could have went and worked at a restaurant. I could have went and done something else, but I had stayed on the path and I finished it, and I ended up having a considerable amount of success. I'd gone from making nothing to 10 grand a month when on the island, and she had been there longer than I had. You know, so I'd already out earned her, and I was already outperforming her. So like I said, a lot of guys that would have given up after the second or third or fourth or fifth time. But for me, like honestly speaking, I don't think I'm like super book smart or whatever. Like you're like seem like you're really logical smart, probably because you know you're a programmer and all that stuff. But I'm a very street smart, and I
Mm.
don't give up. I just don't
Yeah,
like if I want something. Like I play Soul Calibur 6, and sometimes I'll like get linked up with a Korean dude, and the guy will fucking wipe the floor with me 15 times. But
yeah.
I'll fight that guy until I beat him, and when I beat him, I'll fucking quit and be like, "I told you so." Like, so that's. But a lot of guys just don't have that competitive edge, and I like to foster that in guys. I like to tell them like, do the hard work, do
Yeah.
it.
I mean, a lot of it, you're right. I mean, you're right on it. And a lot of it is just not quitting, right? That's like so
Mm-hmm.
much of life is just not quitting.
Mm-hmm.
That's, you can overcome so many other challenges, so many disadvantages you have in life if you're just the guy that doesn't fucking quit. You're going to eventually get there. And yeah, so many people give up. so easily, right? Because they want to face the difficulty, the challenge, right? When I was running this weekend, running my 50-mile, ultra marathon, at mile 30, I was in a lot of pain. I wanted to
Oof.
give up. I
Where?
mean, I'd already run 30 miles, right?
Were your knees? Oh, that's
No, just not not my knees, but my legs, my arms actually hurt, my shoulders. I was just just feeling like, shit. My feet were completely sore.
oof.
And at that point, I still had 20 miles to go. 20 miles is still a long way to go. You're talking like another 3-4 hours worth of running. And I just had to keep on telling myself, like, the only thing you have to do is just not quit. That's it. Like,
Mhm.
you just keep on trying, just keep on going, just go 1 mile, just go 1 mile, just go 1 mile. Like, there's no limit. There's no point at which I can't just run one more mile. I mean, maybe there's a theoretical one, but you just go and you just don't give up and you don't give up and you don't give up. And then eventually, the way that you run 50 miles is that you run 30 miles. I mean, you train yourself to run 30 miles, right? That's through your training. But that extra 20 that you add on, you're not trained to run that. Like,
Mm.
that's your training didn't really prepare you for that. That's all mental. That's all just not giving up. The way that you make it the last 20 miles is by not giving up. That's it.
Really?
And so but that's the key. It's the key to so much in life is just not giving up, right?
Yeah, like again, like and this has become a repeated pattern in my life. So when I was applying to get a job in Japan, applying remotely is a little bit harder, but
Mm.
I had sent out 300 plus applications. I got 4 interviews. I failed 3 of them, but I got that one at like probably the shittiest reputation English school in the nation.
Yeah.
But that's all you need, man, is that foot in the door. And it has literally, dude, that has changed my life, man. That has I'm just so grateful that I took that initial first step. And it's funny, all the people that I looked back on who were like, oh, you can never make it. What are you gonna eat sushi every day, brr? Right? I look back at them and they went from haters to my biggest fans. They're like, "Yo, like,
Yeah.
what's it like, man? Like, what's it like? Can you speak Japanese? Like, is it true what they say about Japanese girls? Like, what? Did you see the Godzilla statue? Did you see the Gundam statue?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've done it all." And I look back at them. God bless them. They're all the Lord's people, whatever. But
Uh
every year I go back, they're just a little bit fatter, a
yep.
little bit more angry at Trump, a
Yep.
little bit more broker, and I mean, I truly believe staying in your hometown robs your spirit,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
that's what I'm watching these guys do, and I'm out here like flourishing and not only surviving but thriving and growing and expanding, and it all starts with getting out of your comfort zone, and a big part of it too is like get negative people out of your life. If you have like any
Mm.
negative people that after you're done engaging with them, you feel tired, get those people out of your life. Just cut them out. I don't care if it's your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister. Cut
Yep.
them out. Watch the quality of your life go up.
Yeah, I like to demote people to acquaintances,
Yep.
right? Like, you don't need so many friends, right? If someone's not benefiting your life, you don't have to like completely cut them out in the sense that like you hate them and never talk to them again, but you just limit your exposure, right? It's like you just move them to acquaintance zone. And there's some people that are so toxic that you don't even let them be an acquaintance. You just like cut them completely out. But so I thought this was a good one that Syed said here. He said, now a lot of people are saying they're training people and they are successful financially, but they are fake. How to spot a fake, right?
Well, like when I was on Incel Dictionary's stream the other day, and they were talking all high and mighty about relationships and how they just knew everything, right? And they said the number one reason why I'm a bad guy is because I quote unquote teach guys manipulation. So I obviously don't do that, but I had a loaded question that I was pretty sure they would all fail. So I asked all these guys, this panel of incels, I said, what is a woman's number one tool she uses in life, right? And they said, "Oh, we don't know." I said, "Okay." I said, "Let me rephrase that." I said, "Do women use social manipulation? Yes or no?" I had to make the question even easier for them, right? So that was already tier one. they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Tier 2, I narrowed it down, 50% chance of getting it right, 50% chance of getting wrong. Do women use social manipulation? Unanimously, they all said no. And I was like, that's how I know you guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You're all a bunch of bums. You're
All right.
sitting around having your little circle jerk, and you don't know a damn thing about anything when it comes to women, dating, being a player, even being a boyfriend. And this is why you guys are at the bottom of the sexual totem pole, sitting in your mom's basement crying about this nonsense. So I would ask these people questions that I know the answers to and to see if they answer correctly. But you have to be qualified in order to catch these fakes.
Yeah. And then I would say, a good measure is to look at what someone's actually doing versus what they're saying, right? And then to also, to cross check those things, right? So, for example, like a lot of you guys that are watching, right, that are Bulldog Mindset members, that I'm not a fake because I go and run a 50-mile run. Like, I can't bullshit that, right? I mean, it would take quite a bit for me to bullshit that. But what I mean is that, like, I have the mindset, obviously, of a bulldog if I'm going to run 50 miles at 230 pounds, right? Like, I can't. That's something that can't be fake. I could pump you up. All these people pump you up about how to train and how to make money and how to have the right mindset. But then you don't see what they're doing in their lives. You don't see any kind of evidence from that, right? They can do all the advertisements. But so I would say, and that's part of the reason why I do what I do and I do it publicly, is because I'm not a fake. That's why, like, if you look at every month, if you subscribe to the channel or the Bulldog Mindset membership, I put my financials there, right? I literally go into my QuickBooks, right, accounts, and I show you how much money I made from every one of my businesses, how much money I made from my rental real estate properties and all of those things, because that's how you know that someone's not a fake. Is right. If you can see all that stuff, right, I can't be faking that. Also, I'm on video every day, right? Do I have, do I keep my physique? Do I keep my 6-pack abs all year round? Yes, I do, because you see it every single day. And that's not something, so what I would say is, like, look for the evidence, right? If someone doesn't have the evidence, if they're just promising you some bullshit and you don't see them, like, as we call it in the dating, the receipts. Where's the receipts? Right? If you're not seeing receipts, then there's no transaction took place. So yeah, that's what I would say about it.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're gonna have to look for inconsistencies, but more importantly, you're gonna have to develop your skills and to get to the level to find these inconsistencies. But the biggest, I would say, if you're on the outside looking in, the biggest thing is you need to look at the students that are supposedly being taught by him, and then ask yourself, is this student getting the result that I want in my life? That's another way I would do it.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah, what's it that Tony Robbins says? Success leaves clues.
Oh yeah,
Right? It's very
absolutely.
true. And I'd say also, like, how do we spot fakes, right? So I know how I spot fakes. No, like, if you're an expert in some domain of knowledge, you can spot a fake really quickly, right? Because when someone, what they're saying doesn't line up with what I know, like you just said, right? With those guys, when you ask that question and you're like, do women use social manipulation? Anyone who has any kind of understanding of women in game and has any success knows that's
It's the
true. And so,
backbone of their existence.
and when you hear someone say no, you immediately know that they're a fraud, that they're fake, that it's not true. It's like if
Oh.
you ask someone about, financial, investing or something, and they, try to give you some kind of bullshit answer, and you understand it, or cryptocurrency, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could spot someone from a mile away who's just bullshitting about cryptocurrency if you really understand it and understand how that stuff works. So
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, yeah. I don't know. And there's so many scammers out there, but it's funny that because they're all kind of one by one being exposed, if you will. But
Mhm.
I got a question for you, John. So, you're Mr. High Standards and stuff. What did I do to be able to be, graciously allowed onto your channel here?
Well, I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that everything that I hear you say lines up with what I understand and know about women, right? So I know that you can't be full of bullshit because you can't be saying what you're saying without having the experience that backs that up, because you can't come to that conclusion and to say those things without having that depth, right? You can tell when someone understands something, right? So that's what I would say, right? And I see the value. Like, one of the things that really convinced me was, you invited me to your one of your webinars for where you're doing the coaching, like the 2 hours,
Yeah, body
twice a
language
day.
mastery, the webinar training for sure.
Right. And I was like, wow, this is fucking crazy. Like you're there, devoting this much time to your audience, right? Like, that's a lot of time. I mean, you're getting all these speakers, you're lining them up, like they're getting people coming on in the morning and in the evening for like 2 hour sessions every single day for a period of time.
Three
And that's,
weeks.
yeah, that's insane. I mean, that's dedication. That's like, you could just take someone's money and just be like, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
Right. But if you're doing that, like, you're really caring for those guys and trying to make them better. And that's what I'm trying to do as well. It's like, I want to, it's great to make money. I think both you and I agree. I like being rich. I like making money. Right. It's good. Right. Anyone who says that it's not, they're full of shit. Right. But it's even better to like be living a purpose where you're actually making an impact on people's lives and changing their lives, because that's the thing that really brings you the fulfillment, right? So I don't know, that's what I saw. So
Yeah, well, I mean, appreciate that, and that webinar down. It's gonna go down in history. I believe it was webinar number 20. Everybody after that was like, "Yo, we need this man back," because I think you actually went over time. You did like 3 hours, I
I
believe.
think it was something like that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So I saw you on Richard Cooper, and actually, I didn't even watch the video, but I was just like, saw the channel, saw what you did, and I reached out. I was like, "Oh yeah, well, you want to come on the show and have a chat?" And we ended up having our little show on my channel, and yeah, I didn't talking with you privately about all the real estate stuff, the coaching call that I paid for that we did, all those things. I took the quiz, everything. I think you have like a good academy here. I think you have a good legitimate academy of educating men, and that's really what I want to build. I'm really just like, you could look at my face right now. That This is the face I make when I consider moving back to America, and so I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, oh. But I think about going back to America sometimes, just to make like the Professor X like academy
Mm.
for red pill education, and like have a whole like a place where I can live and sleep, and I can have teachers coming and going and just doing some ongoing trainings, and educating the young men who need proper education, not like, hey, do you know that because you're white, you're an oppressor? And you have to actually carry everybody else's books because you're an oppressor, to like
Right.
eight-year-old Timmy who's just like wants ice cream. So I want to make like a school that is teaching the fundamentals: make money, make muscles, learn game, right? Because when
Yeah.
you come into this world, it's like, you know, I gotta pay taxes. Like, I did I miss the tax course? Like, isn't that pretty insane that like you're just responsible for taxes, but nobody teaches you how to do it? It's just like comes around, and you're supposed to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, I totally agree. And I think that's one thing that, like, we both tend to do, like that. I don't really think there's anyone else really doing what we're doing, which is focusing on all the areas of man's life, right? To improve it, from the financial to the fitness to the game, and women. And you need all of those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Oh
really
yeah.
important to have all of that. So yeah, that'd be awesome. I thought about creating like a boot camp where I'd have this this place here on the beach that I would have a gym, and you'd come for 2 weeks, maybe pay 10 grand or so, and come out here, and I would just fucking kick your ass, and all like I'd make you train, like fucking run. I get you in the fucking ring, and we'd box. I mean, you'd be fighting people, and then you'd be like overcoming your fears. You jump out of a fucking airplane. You're gonna go out to a nightclub, and you're gonna talk to you're gonna like open 100 girls, and like whatever, you're gonna do all the fucking shit that you're afraid of, and just like accelerate your life in 2 weeks. What would take you 5 years, like you're gonna get that. And I would love to do something like that. Like this, you come out of this and you go through a fucking rite of initiation, and you become a man when you come out the other end of it,
dude.
So
I had that planned before the whole coronavirus thing happened, but we were gonna do Hot Dude House. Did you hear about Hot Dude House?
Yeah, you invited me to do that.
Yeah, so we're gonna do Hot Dude House, and then we're also gonna do, like you said, I have a guy in my community. He is a Navy SEAL, and he went through Hell Week, and I've talked to him. I said, "Listen, how do you feel about getting the guys to sign a waiver, and maybe slightly replicating what you went through in Hell Week,
right?" Yeah.
With these guys, and I think that's going to happen down the road for sure, without a shadow of a doubt.
Awesome. Yeah, count me in. I want to do it. So I got here's what I thought. This is an interesting one. I'm assuming this is Tate speech, right? The guy who boned Michaela Peterson, by the way, right? Which is pretty ironic, but okay. After she dumped her husband to hook up with this this guy, this clear PUA. What do you think? What do you think about Tate? I don't want to taint your Tate. And then I'll give you kind of my thoughts as well. So
I think if you take a look at the history of his Bitcoin trading program, it could be summed up in 3 letters, basically LOL. And there's not, it's been discontinued, and quite honestly, I know more about Bitcoin than he does, and yeah, it's just something that me and my brand, we're exit stage left or stage right, whichever one's closer, because no thank you, just no thank you.
Yeah, I've got some mixed thoughts on him, right, as far as him being a fake or legitimate, right? So one thing, if you look at his kickboxing career, right, he can't be fake there, right, because he's been in the ring, he has a record, he's a good fighter, right? Regardless of if you people sitting on the couch think that he's a good fighter or not, he can probably kick your ass, right? He was a professional fighter, right?
For sure.
So there's that. As far as a lot of things that he says, I think they're pretty fucking legit. I mean, he's a pretty aggressive, fucking dominant man. Like the shit that he says is pretty right on, especially dealing with women. I think that it's pretty clear that he's probably legit in that area, I would say, right? I mean, from what I know about the psychology, he's very much kind of mode 1 type of guy, and that's and you don't become that way unless you've had some experience and some success. But when it gets into the business side of it, of him making money and how he makes his money, that's where I'm in agreement with you, John. I'm not sure, like, I believe he probably made his money with the webcam girls and all of that stuff, and made some money in cryptocurrency, and he has money, clearly he has money, right? Like he can't be faking that with everything that's going on. But I'm not sure that I would take financial advice from him or business building advice, right? That's where, and I'm not sure, I mean, I don't know enough about the guy. I'd like to get him on the channel at some point and have a discussion with him. He's an interesting character. He's also playing up the character a lot, right? I think that's pretty clear. He's not really the guy that he pretends to be on YouTube, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. A lot of people do that on YouTube and make characters of themselves that, to be more extreme, right? He's trying to be that extreme kind of guy. So yeah. So anyway, I find him interesting, but I'm pretty cautious at this point.
I mean, I see what I see with the guy in Romania.
Uh,
Romania, Romania is not necessarily known for their great uh, government and
right.
loose laws. But yeah, I think that you know, I think. I'm trying to like think of how to say this correctly. I just think that he's got to be careful because he's getting people are uniting in Telegram chats against him. His customers are
Right.
making 60 person plus videos about him. So
Yeah.
he's got to be careful.
Yeah, it's true. And I think one thing to think about too is just the idea that like you can't always like you have to look at whether or not someone's legitimate on multiple avenues, right? Like there was a thing that just came out in the fitness industry, right? I don't know if you follow Athlete X,
Yeah.
but I mean, Athlete X is like a very popular YouTuber. Really, everyone thought he was a very stand-up guy, right? But he's using fake weights.
No way.
Yes, and it's
Are you
like confirmed.
serious?
It's absolutely confirmed by so many YouTubers that like he's using fake weights and he's lying about the weight that he's lifting. He's actually completely lying about it.
Oh, I like that
And
guy. I feel like I thought he was like the last integrity based
right.
dude.
Right. I mean, it shocked the shit out of me. It shocked the shit out of me because believe me, I had the same impression. Everyone had that impression of him. But there's enough evidence that's come out now that it's pretty damn clear that it seems that he's using fake weights. And then it questions like, is he on stuff? Is he, so, regardless, I don't know the answer to that. But the point is like that doesn't invalidate all of his really good fitness advice that he's given, right? I mean,
yeah.
if you're going to buy something from him and it involves some measurement of the weight of putting something on a scale, you probably should double check it. Bring your own scale, right? Like don't trust the guy on certain things, but as far as the fitness advice that he's given, that's solid. You can't toss it out. So that's kind of how I look at it too with someone like Tate. Is like I can watch some of his videos and I can learn something. I can, in terms of I damn, that's a pretty fucking aggressive approach with dealing with women. That's interesting, right? It's like okay, I can learn something about that, but some other things maybe not so much.
Well, like the basis of his I'll teach you how to date. It's like, dude, you're 6'3". You have a fucking blue check mark on your Instagram, and you are a 4-time kickboxing champion, multimillionaire. Like, how are you going to teach people how are you going to teach the guy who's the fry cook at Wendy's how to get girls? Like first start taking a shitload of HGH right, every day in your major joints and in your jugular, then you'll grow to be 6'3". Then you have to go become a kickboxing champion and then start up a cam studio and then,
yeah.
Oh man. So I don't know. I stay away from them. I stay away from them for sure.
Yeah. All right. So thanks, Unplugged Fitness. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it, man. Shout out to him. Let's see here. Who else we got? We got Offie Kingdom podcast. Peace, Bulldog, love to my brother, MLD. So zero fucks given. All right. I like it. Appreciate it, man. Who else we got here? We got Roberto F. Hot Dude Army is everywhere.
That's my troops have invaded your chat.
There we go. Yeah. No. Yeah. What else? What else we got here? I got to get going in a little bit, but what else you want to talk about, my man?
Let's talk about these protests because I think we
Okay.
touched on it slightly, but okay. So I believe the protests in all this nonsense going to be over end of this month. It's going to be
Mm.
over. What is the next big life-shattering event that's supposed to come and hit us? Because now coronavirus, asymptomatic people can't translate it. Did you get that one from the WHO?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Right.
And then
Yeah.
coronavirus now, I guess the coronavirus plan didn't work because now they're saying also coronavirus cannot be transmitted from surface to surface. So they're backpedaling
Right.
now.
Right.
So what's next? I'm thinking flying space spaghetti monster, like, but he's
I,
gonna be red, and so because he's red, he's gonna kill a bunch of people, and then they're gonna blame it on the Republican Party.
yeah. He'll have to be a racist, I guess. So, but
Yeah.
I think what's happening next is, I mean, what we're set up next for, right? The dominoes are set up for horrible market crash,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's the next logical step here, because right now the market's being manipulated clearly, right? Like we're in, you could say this is the worst time in the last 50 years in history as far as of what's going, and the biggest global economic disaster that's ever occurred in history has just occurred, and we're like, oh, stock market's going up, right? So I would see that the next thing that's going to happen is a big collapse, and then everyone's going to fucking panic and ask for the government to help them out, right? Like every one of these things that's happened so far, there's one common thread, which is, dear, please, government, help me. Great government, help me. Right when coronavirus hit, it was like, oh, we'll save your ass. We're gonna give you, we're gonna give you the guidelines. We're gonna do social distancing, right? Stay in your fucking house, and then here's some money. Here's some money. Have some
Flatten the
fucking
curve.
money, right? Here you go.
Flatten the curve.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Flatten the curve, and here's some money, right? And then the whole riots, right, happen with the protests and everything. And then it's like, oh, we're gonna send in the National Guard. We're gonna fucking get rid of the rioters. We're gonna quell this rebellion. And so it's like, please, please, sir, give me some more government. Give me some more. Come in and solve my problems for me again, right? And so that's the same thing as what I predict is going to happen with the market. The market's going to crash, and there's going to be like, Uncle Sam, I need your help again, dear sir, Lord Uncle Sam, please come in and save my ass. And so you just give up more and more of your rights. And yeah, because
God.
you need the government to come in and save your ass.
The government is the last person I would want coming to save me, unless I was like abroad and like in a North Korean prison.
Right.
Like then I'd be like, all right, Big Daddy Trump, can you come? Can you come get me out of this gulag? Oh man. But
Yeah, it's
yeah.
but people don't understand that it's the same thing with the police and the doctors, right? Like if you go to a doctor, you increase your chance of dying. Like the third highest cause of death in the US is medical malpractice. That's the third highest cause of death. Okay. That's pretty fucked up. But if you call the police, you also greatly increase your risk of dying. Anytime you have someone, you invite someone with a gun to come and resolve a problem for you, you risk dying. So I think that, that's, it all comes down to weighing the risks.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. But so are you really thinking a crash?
That's what I'm thinking. It has to happen. There's how does this not happen, right? Think
Are you
about it.
are you going Peter Schiff on me? Like it has to happen. Like
Well,
Peter Schiff's living the dream right now. Do you know Peter Schiff?
yeah,
He's been calling the crash since 2010.
yeah,
10
yeah,
years later, he got it.
yeah. But it didn't really crash down yet. That was like a hiccup. The real crash is still coming. I'm pretty convinced of it, right? I don't try to time the market, but I can tell you that, like, the market is fundamentally based on fundamentals.
Mm-hmm.
And when you shut down for 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not making money, and that's what most companies, had to face in the US and in the world. that doesn't help your bottom line. That really hurts your fundamentals, right? Everything gets fucked. So when you look at those fundamentals, right now the market's not obeying that, but it will eventually catch up. And you don't just like have one quarter where you're like, whoops, we didn't make any money this quarter. And not have an impact on that. I don't know.
And
That's how I see it. But
when you timing it?
I'm already in short position on the market, and I'm losing
Mm.
my ass right now as it keeps on going up. But I'm going to stay in that position because I know that it's going to happen, right? I can't time exactly when it's going to happen, but I also know that the real estate market is going to crash as well, right? At least in the U.S. So that's probably a good 6 months out from when the market crashes, right? Because it's usually not. There's usually an after effect. So I'm actually selling a property right now, one of the properties that I have, and so I'm already getting ready for this. So
Oh wow. Which one is one in Minnesota or something?
I've got one in Caldwell, Idaho that I'm selling. I'm selling a triplex I own there for about $300,000.
That's a nice little chunk of change.
Yep, yep.
You gonna do anything with it, or are you just gonna rent a boat?
So now I'm investing in a company that buys a bunch of SaaS companies,
Mm-hmm.
and so they have some pretty good returns, and I feel like that's a good. I feel like SaaS is a good business. It's always been a good business, but it's especially a good business right now.
Hmm.
So
That's dope. That's dope. Yeah, I'm looking at the real estate right now, but it's not a good time to buy. Just need to stand by and make the move um, when it needs to be made. And I'm thinking this is just very street smarts and analytics, but I feel like we might see something in August or September. I think they want people to be dumb and happy over summer, right?
mhm.
Got Black Lives Matter. People are going to start going back out in the streets. We're going to see a lot of nonsense because it's election year.
Yeah.
And so I think that, uh, I'm thinking like August. August is when we'll see something like that. Um, crypto is a little bit leaning towards that as well. There's a big moment coming up right now in crypto for the month of May. The volumes have been drying up big time. So it's either going to go down or it's going to go up. I'm hoping it goes down.
So you can get more.
Yeah, because I had a position that like I had no idea it would do this, but Bitcoin like spiked one day and it
Ah,
liquidated all my positions and I was put I all my Bitcoin was gone and I got cash back. I'd made money, but
right.
you know, I checked my account and I had like, more than 50 grand in there and I was just like, "Oh Jesus, did this happen?" And then it did. So, yeah, now I'm in cash waiting to acquire some BTC. Hoping it crashes again. I need a wave 2 of corona, but I feel like they gave up on that narrative.
That's not a popular
Uh,
sentiment.
I think they gave up on it.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's yeah. I don't know if we're gonna see a wave two of Corona, but
I mean, everybody should be dead right now because
yeah,
of the Black Lives Matter protesting. Everybody should be dead,
right,
and and
exactly, yeah.
and they're not.
No, but that's because it's not transmissible by human contact anymore. If you're not right, it's
It
funny how
is.
that changed, right? Well, no, the World Health Organization said that asym damn asymptomatic. There we
Yeah.
go. I said it. Carriers do not transmit it, basically, right?
Hmm.
So they changed their whole stance on it, right?
Hmm.
So, which is so convenient because of all the protests going on that now asymptomatic carriers are very unlikely to spread it, right? So,
Hmm.
so basically, sick people have to spit in your face. That's how. If someone has a fever and they spit in your face, that's how you get it. It doesn't make any fucking sense. I don't even think the thing exists, to be honest with you, at this point.
Cue
So
the X Files music.
yeah,
Oh man.
but
Well,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, yeah, like I said, things are looking great. for guys like us. Just keep on winning. And yeah, man, it's good times to be here. Good times to chat with you.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Thanks for coming on the show, guys. Make sure you go check out. We got a plug from Unplugged Fitness. He says sign up for Bilanguage Mastery, guys. Webinars are high value. You get coaching on fitness, game, finance, mindset, leadership, crypto, investments, and much more. Take action. I agree. Yeah, guys, go check it out and go over to MLD's channel here and show some love over there because he's producing some great content and really like the biggest thing I would say about you, John, is that you really care for your people, your audience, right? Like you really care for them, and that's that's amazing. The amount of time that you spend working with them individually, and the amount of time that you spend on live streams and and working in your community. I think that's amazing. So
I have a pretty awesome commercial if you want to let it play.
oh yeah, let's do that. Let me see. Okay, hold on.
Here,
Let me grab
I
your.
I got it queued up. You just gotta approve it.
Okay.
It's
Let's
at
see
the
how.
bottom there.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
There we go.
All right.
Check this out.
So you want to be a hot dude? Some mighty fine good news there, son. Hi there, I'm Jonathan from ModernLifeDating.com, and I'm High Commander of the Hot Dude Army. Do you want to be an alpha male? Come on down to Body Language Mastery, launching on June 25th, where we're going to give you the complete breakdown on how to be a top-tier alpha male in today's society. Let's take a walk. See, Body Language Mastery is a two-part program. The first part is the complete video course. This is going to teach you whether a woman is sexually interested in you or she's not interested in you based upon her body language. That way, you keep the women around that are interested in you, and the ones that are not, you send them packing. And quite honestly, that's the easiest part. The second part is what we like to call the Masculine Empowerment Network, where we teach men like you the fundamentals of being a successful man in today's society, focusing on making money, making muscles, and learning game. The Masculine Empowerment Network is comprised of over 600 men across the globe, and we're waiting for members like you. As you can see, we have one of our proud members of the Masculine Empowerment Network right here. What is the Masculine Empowerment Network? Well, starting July 1st, every day, we will do 2 educational webinar sessions. 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours at night. A grand total of 30 lessons and over 60 hours of face-to-face live coaching on Zoom. In addition to that, not only do you get the training in quarter 2, you also get grandfathered in and free training in quarter 3 and quarter 4 for this year. That's right, you're going to get over 160 hours of coaching if you enroll on June 25th. In addition to that, you'll receive the entire database of last year's webinars with over 100 hours of red pill content to help you become the best man you can be. So, don't delay. Come on down to modernlifedating.com/body language and let's make a man out of you.
Oh man, that's good, dude. I thought it was a green screen when I first watched it until I saw you stepping on the guy's back. Then I was like,
yeah, no, that's Tokyo.
And it's pretty impressive that you got a vest with guns in it in fucking Tokyo. How did you get away with that shit?
They're airsoft.
Still.
Yeah. Japan, Japan created airsoft guns.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. No, I didn't know that. Oh, interesting.
Airsoft Extreme. They love doing that stuff out here. So you can find them everywhere.
All right. Cool. All right, John. Cool, man. Thanks a lot for coming on. And yeah, we'll talk again soon.